I've been making travel mistakes in New Zealand for a good 9 months now. You could even say I've been making mistakes before I even got here because I wore jeans and a sweater on the flight between Vancouver to Auckland. Got off just a heat wave at 6:45 in the morning, sweating through the airport. Boom, travel mistake. Had to change into shorts immediately, but I got a bunch more. The second one would be not taking things with a grain of salt. Sometimes I can be very over-trusting and impressionable, and a lot of people here aren't afraid to make like very bold statements or opinions on certain things, like Dunedin is an absolute shithole, don't go there. There's nothing to do in Nelson, there's nothing to do in Christchurch, there's a giant hole in the ozone layer above New Zealand. The South Island roads are so shitty in comparison to the North Island roads, where we've actually found the opposite. I think heading up to Cape Reinga, it was like pothole central on one of those highways. You're just swerving around everywhere. And actually on the South Island, it's been really good. I would be like, oh, okay. And then I would go and repeat that elsewhere or say it in a YouTube video only to have so many people go, what? What are they talking about? Like, that is just so untrue. Do your own research, find a valid source. That's been pretty big, actually. Take everything with a grain of salt. Ugh. Not checking Google reviews. You're out and about, you're traveling, you had a day of seeing a bunch of things, you want to grab a bite to eat, maybe some fish and chips, maybe a pie. You're just trying to find whatever's close and quick. Yeah, we've done that. You end up spending $20 to $40 for 2 people to eat, and then the food just sometimes isn't that good. You go and look it up on Google after, it's like, yeah, okay, it's a 2.8. There's a 4.5, you know, 1 block away. We should have just done that. That's happened to us quite a bit. And like even booking hotels, sometimes you're on like hotels.com or a third-party website booking a hotel and the photos look great, and sure, maybe the reviews there say that the motel's fine, but you go to Google, it's a 2.5, apparently it's loud, it's nothing soundproofed or whatever, so you kind of have to refer back. Today, looked up the top reviewed bakery in Mapua, had some delicious pies. They were a little pricey, but they were pretty damn good. Worth it. Got a good meal out of it. Check the reviews. To contrast that, I'm gonna say this other travel mistake was trusting Google Maps. Google reviews, pretty solid. Google Maps can sometimes be not that solid. Example, we are in Bay of Islands. We wanted to go to Russell from the mainland. We just looked up Google Maps, boom, here you go. We took one of the worst roads I think we've ever driven on in our life. It was over an hour and a half, gravel road. You pretty much went up and over a mountain and the lane was like this big. It was really scary. We should have just talked to some locals. Like, we got a coffee that morning. We should have just said, hey, what's the best way to get out there? And they would have said, oh, just pay $16 and take a ferry. You'll be out there in like, 10 minutes. In saying that, we did just drive from Nelson all the way down to Dunedin a few weekends ago, and it was like pretty much bang on 9.5 hours or 10 hours or whatever it was. Pretty much bang on. But if you are driving around certain parts of New Zealand where it's very windy or you have to go through some mountain passes, you can get pretty backed up. There might be road construction going on the highway, so it'll tell you to take a gravel road that goes way around because it thinks that all of those roads are 100 kilometers an hour, where you're better off just taking the 10-minute wait for the construction. In general, it's pretty good, but don't trust it with your life if you're going somewhere new that might be a little more secluded. People are more than happy to give you an answer here. It's great. Ask the locals. Not getting what you need earlier in the day, especially if you're about to go out and do some sort of excursion or hike or anything. Things close early, especially in rural areas. Story time. Te Anau. When we went to go and see Doubtful Sound and Milford Sound, we stayed in Te Anau. Beautiful little town, not very big, but it's a perfect hub to go and explore those 2 areas. Doubtful Sound, that whole day was a really long day, and we had woken up from Roxburgh and drove down there. We didn't really have a chance to grab groceries. It was like just immediately get up and go. By the time we got back to town, we had like 20 minutes to go to the Foursquare there and grab some groceries, a beer, and some snacks to go to our hotel room. If that was closed, we would have had to resort to, I don't know, liquor store snacks. They had like pretzels at the liquor store, so we would have had to go there. But that's pretty much what we had to do in Twizel, because on the opposite end, you know, going to do the Hooker Valley track and seeing Mount Cook, super awesome. Twizel is a great hub to stay at, to explore that area. That night, someone left the lights on in the car. Battery died. We had to wait about 2 hours for AA to come and boost our car because no one in the parking lot had booster cables. Which reminds me, we still need to get some booster cables. But yeah, we got into Twizel. It was late, everything was closed. We had to get gas station, petrol station snacks. Not getting what you need early in the day. That's a mistake that we have made and will probably continue to make, unfortunately, because I'm really bad for that. Same topic, a mistake that we made is just really not understanding when things are open and when things are closed. Like I just said, things can close pretty early, but not just that. Like we love to go and check out craft breweries. A lot aren't even open on Mondays and Tuesdays. Like that's not irregular for a craft brewery to not be open on those days. You know, so if we're gonna drive like 2 hours to Wanaka or something like that, you gotta make sure that the places that you want to see are open. Some places we've gone to and they're permanently closed, and it says, Google Maps says that they're open, but they are like permanently closed. The sign's been removed from the front of the store. If there's really a spot that you want to hit up, you gotta almost like call ahead and make sure that they're gonna be open. Unless it's like a museum or something that should be pretty trustworthy in terms of their hours posted online. But if there's something a little out of the blue, man, I've just been calling ahead. We haven't done a whole lot of excursions, but the ones that we have done, like Doubtful Sound and Milford Sound, paying the $100 to like $180 just to go out on the cruise or whatever it was, absolutely worth it. It is a touristy thing, but like the amount of wildlife or marine life that you get to see and the whole experience of being out on the water, oh my God, like I just can't imagine not doing those. Back to the Bay of Islands. The trip was a little improvised. We were gonna camp about 45 minutes to an hour outside and then have our own weekend for the Bay of Islands, but it just didn't end up working out. So the next thing you know, we're right at a holiday park, right on the water in the Bay of Islands, which was great. Explored a little bit. I really wanted to do a cruise there. I think they were like $80 to $120. Hemmed and hawed about it, didn't end up doing it, thought we would go back. I just wish I did it. I just wish I pulled the trigger in the moment and just did it. That's the best thing that you could do there for a reasonable price. It's not like you're taking a $1,000 helicopter tour through it. Something around $100. Just pull the trigger. You never know if you'll be back. Yeah, should have done it. One of the mistakes is not going to a butcher sooner. Obviously you can get your meat, your chicken, your ground mince, ground beef, pork. You can get all that at the supermarket. We just had steaks a couple times and it wasn't good at all. So we've just backed off. And bacon can be really high, but really recently since we've been in Nelson, we went over to this butcher and oh my God, some of the Manuka smoked honey bacon is like $6.99 for a pack and you get like a good amount, and the steaks, affordable and delicious. So yeah, really wish that we went to a butcher sooner. Do you have any, I'm sure you have some travel mistakes in New Zealand. What do you think?
Yes, I do have a lot, actually.
A lot?
I would say number one, gas station pies. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of them are really good, but if there is a bakery close by, it's pretty much always going to be better. So just always default to go to a bakery over a gas station. If you're getting desperate and there's nothing else available, then sometimes the gas station ones are actually pretty good, but I made the mistake of picking a gas station pie over a bakery a couple times, and they were absolutely horrible. So
in Greymouth, I got like a really good pie, and then you had the gas station one right beside it.
Like, why did I do that? So stupid.
Yeah.
The worst decision I've ever made. So not going to social events if you get an invite from a local, whether they're from New Zealand or not. I had a couple of invites at my former work in Auckland that it just like wasn't convenient for us to go because we were living so far away from where the events were. But looking back, I wish we had just made it happen somehow, because I think it would have been a lot of fun.
Travel mistakes. You had one more. What was it?
I had a few more actually, but the first one would be shopping at Briscoe's.
Oh, right.
So if you're gonna come and live here for a while and you need to buy like linens and towels and all that, don't go to Briscoe's. I didn't know this, but they are notorious for jacking their prices up and having like random sales where everything is 85% off, which is really similar to Canadian Tire back home. And I don't think the quality is all that great. I wish I had have went to something like Kmart or something a little bit on the cheaper side because we're not here forever.
Is that the place that had a $300 like garbage bin that you could buy?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, there's always going to be travel mistakes no matter where you go. And hopefully us talking about this helps you guys avoid these mistakes.
Yeah. I think a big one that I had actually read online too was give yourself enough time on New Zealand's North Island. I was just going to make a note of, I wish we spent more time in Wellington with our vehicle because we could have used Wellington as a hub, stayed there for like a month, and then we could have explored Lower Hutt, Upper Hutt, Palmerston North, Taranaki. We have gone back to Wellington because we really enjoy Wellington, but we don't have a car, so we're just seeing downtown, which is more than great. We've been able to see a lot, but yeah, more time in Wellington and the North Island. Like we didn't really see Taupo, Rotorua. It rained for the whole 2 days we were there. We didn't really see any of that. Like there's just so much of the North Island that was pretty mind-blowing. Like our time in Hawke's Bay was amazing. Napier.
The like 2 days we were in that area.
Yeah.
Such a short time. We loved it. And so many people pushed the South Island. Like, oh, you're not really going to want to be on the North Island for very long. The South Island is where it's at. Like, make sure you get down there and spend as much time as you can. And looking back, I wish we had spent more time exploring the North Island because we missed a lot.
Yeah, the last one has to do with the road, but we have to go to the sidewalk for that one. Okay, my final travel mistake. This one happened probably 3 or 4 days into being in New Zealand. We were in Auckland, we were at Mount Eden. We had just gone up, got a great view. We're coming back down, we're close to the street. And I go to cross the street, no one's coming. And then this car just rips around the corner. Brittany stops, I stutter step, and then I keep going. And he doesn't stop going. Like he's just about, like either way, that's the closest I've ever been to getting hit by a car. Found out right away, it's definitely a vehicle first, pedestrian second country. If you want to cross the street, I guess I'll show you guys right now. There we go. A lot of the times you'll just walk halfway. This particular area is like a little median. No one coming. All right, off we go. I can successfully cross the street, New Zealand. Look at me go. And look at that. Now I'm at the beach. It's as if I planned that. Well, thanks so much for watching. I hope this video helped. If you enjoyed it, give me a like. Subscribe for more content, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.